Hey, this is, well, you know what it is. It's a shake up with Dr. Kit, and I'm here to shake up a few things so that life don't become so sedentary and mundane. Now, this the purpose of the shake up. We don't change the structure, we just change the meaning. We reframe things on here, give you a different perspective of things, okay? So just hang in here with us while we do this. It's what I call shake up every Monday at 6 p.m. Central Time. All right. And so we have this amazing program for you this evening. But before we get to that, I'm going to try to get to it real quick. Listen, I want you to just like this program. All right. Just like it. Follow me like a dog's tail. Follow the dog. Just keep following me. Share and subscribe. Like, follow, share, subscribe. We're not asking you to put no money down. We're just asking for a little bit of your time, which will be well worth it if you just like, so somebody else can follow and you can follow, share it, and you can subscribe to it. Okay, so we want you to do that. All right, so just do that for us today. It gives us greater viability. All right, and so listen, to be considered for a part on this program, and without you we don't have a program. Without you we just have me just talking. But the whole idea of the shake up is for people to come on and be a part of the program, to share whatever is on your mind, um, whatever you feel that you have been called to deliver to a group of people, those people that are watching and sharing and following and liking, okay, so that their lives can be changed. So if you want to be considered for as a participant on a future program, just um, just go to my team at drkitspeaks@gmail.com, and they will be happy to get you on. Now, let me say this, okay? You don't have to be on camera. We'd like you to be on camera, but if you feel like you don't want to be on camera, that's okay. We'll just do audio, but it doesn't matter. We just want you to be here because somebody is going to be benefited by what you say. Everybody's got something good to say, okay? So the future programs, and if you know somebody who you think would be a good person to have on the program, just talk to them and then just talk to my team and we'll get you started. Okay, enough of that. Enough. Listen, this evening we got a returning fella here. This guy is so good. Listen, we just had to bring him back. He's multifaceted, multidimensional in his approach to life and to therapy. And this evening, he is going to share with you another brand of therapy, another type of therapy, which is very effective in its own rights. Okay, so every type of therapy is effective in its own rights. But this one here, he's a master at this. And so I'm going to bring my guest on and I'm going to do like I always do. I'm going to get him to introduce himself. So whatever he tells you, he can't say, well, I told you that. What you tell him that for? I'm not saying anything. I don't even want to say his name until he gives you his name. Come on, my man. Give us something about yourself and talk to the people, okay? Go ahead.
Hey guys, I feel like I'm family on this show now. But yes, if you don't know, I'm John Ruffin. I am the owner of A Touch of Peace Counseling Services here in Huntsville, Alabama. And our company is geared towards giving you peace at life. We live in a world where we're constantly growing. We're constantly being pulled on. There is tension, and that tension is needed for that growth. But that just like I was told, we also have to have those rest days. Part of growth is also the resting and healing process. Yes, you can be pulled, but if you pull too much, like a rubber band, you'll eventually break. But if
Mm.
you pull and rest, you'll be able to grow 10 times more than if you're just pulled on all the time. So, yes, my philosophy is to come get some peace. And
All
that's
right.
me.
All right. I like your philosophy, man. Come and get some peace because, peace is really important in terms of the quality of the state of mind. confusion and a lot of those other things don't work too
That's
well.
right.
So I'm so glad you're talking to us about the importance of having a peace of mind. Okay then, John. What else you got for us, man? Just bring it on, and let's dive into this thing and see how the your modality can positively impact relationships, because what we talk about, we're trying to refuel. We're refueling relationship through the shakeup. So this
Right.
is what we're talking about here. Okay, so go right
So
ahead.
I've been in the field since 2001, in private practice for over 6 years.
All right.
And what I've learned is that the community, the counseling community, is it does well with the individual therapy sessions. We have a lot of experts in that field, but when you look at it from the group dynamic, group is heavily saturated with substance abuse, addictions. That world it utilizes the group therapy modality a lot. But what about all the other issues that group could be beneficial with? Things from depression and anxiety. Let's talk about development of the person, the characteristics, blended families, family dynamics, educational pursuits. Group therapy can be a powerful tool, not only on the side of dealing with issues, but also on a preventative side. We can learn from each other. It's good to have the counseling individual environment, which is one where it's non-judgmental, is safe, where you can explore your thoughts and feelings and deal with some really deep rooted issues. But it's also beneficial to have the accountability of the group, like-minded people who have been through or who is going through what you're going through, and able to hold you accountable and encourage you about the situation that you're in. And so today, that's what I wanted to really hone in on, is one, the power of group therapy. What is group therapy? And then also some resources that you guys that we offer, and also in your community, to really engage the group process. And so, Dr. Kidd, thank you for allowing me to even come on to talk about this, because it's been on my heart since I've been in private therapy. And, I will have clients sometimes who will hit a wall, and I would say, okay, what would really be beneficial for you? A group that will help you kind of solidify some of the lessons that we've been talking about in therapy. So, let's find a group, and then I'll go and I'll look for a group, but most of them will be around the alcohol and substance abuse and addiction arena. And that's not always appropriate for other life issues that people may be going through.
Okay, so I like that, having the different modalities, because it taps into different personalities and a person's capacity to or ability to want to share. And that like-mindedness is really good, because in a group, like you're saying, it will pull some stuff out of people. And what happens here is, in the group, you can even find somebody saying something that you wanted to say, but you let them say it for you anyhow. You get the benefit of that, So group is good. So John, you said, well, listen, are there any specifics that you look for when you have an individual who, like you say, they might hit a wall, and you say, well, listen, uh, let's try group. What are some of the things that you would look for that would make you say, listen, I think that group therapy would be beneficial for you? Or is it just oh man, let's just put them in a group? I know you don't do that. That's what I'm asking. What are some of the clinical
So
deposits
great.
that would, that would make you, go down that road?
Oh man, great question. So sometimes in therapy, especially in the individual personal environment, the role of the therapist is kind of a facilitator. So the therapist will say, okay, not necessarily, at least for me, I'm not going to always tell you what to do. I'm not going to always say, hey, you should be doing this, you should be doing it. I want to explore with you. I want you to explore the issues. I want you to identify what is getting in the way, and then yes, provide tools that'll help you work through that. And that is very powerful, very beneficial. But what happens sometimes is clients will get stuck. They will identify what their problems are, and the triggers that are causing it are getting in the way. They'll have the tools to be able to overcome those, but not enough practical application. People who have had that experience to kind of navigate, okay, how do I make audibles or adjustments in this particular tool or in this particular situation? There may be situations that now that they're trying to improve that are unfamiliar territory to them. And so having a setting where other people who have gone through those experiences could be really beneficial. You also may have the relationship between the therapist become kind of become limited. And yes, that can happen. You can have a relationship with your therapist that may become limited. It may hit a wall because you have gone through almost everything or a lot of things with your therapist, and you're hearing it from just that one source. And you may like your therapist, you may not want to change your therapist. You don't want to just, because therapist is a very intimate relationship, and it's a relationship that sometimes like I said, hit a wall, but it's not one you want to just throw away. So you're not going to just jump from therapist to therapist to therapist and have to tell your whole story over. So sometimes having that group setting can shake things up, get you past that plateau. In life, we may be working towards certain goals, and there's in different goal setting, there's always that plateau, that area you get to where it feels like you're stagnating, and you may be working towards something
Okay, seem like we might be having some minor technical difficulties. So don't go away. Just hang in here with us, and we'll get our guest right back on post haste as soon as possible, and continue sharing this information, um, with you. So listen, if you have any questions in the meantime, why don't you just drop them in the chat below, and we'll put them up, and we'll do our best to answer those questions. Okay. So
yeah.
this would
I
be a
guess
good
we
time to just
we
write
got
some
cut off.
questions. He's all right. Our guest is back, man. I was just telling him, John, so if they got some questions, just drop them in the box, and the professional man on the scene will do his greatest best to go ahead and answer those questions. I got a question for you when you're done talking, when you're finished talking about what you're talking about, John. Go ahead, man. You there? Okay.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay, good. Go right ahead, man. Go right ahead now.
Okay, I'm here. Yeah, so I'll keep it short. What I was saying is this: that there are times where you have to break out of the plateau, and group is a great way to shake it up, Dr.
Hmm.
Kid.
Hmm. Hmm.
Sometimes you talk about shaking up, and a part of getting to that next level, you have to shake it up. And having the diversity, having the option to have a group address a particular area you've been dealing with in individual therapy could be the very thing to help you navigate or get to the next level. and then come back to the individual therapy after going through those lessons with people who are has the same camaraderie, same issues, trying with the same challenges, trying to get to the same place. It's almost like any other company or program that utilizes support systems
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
encourage you to be successful.
Right. Thank you. Listen, if y'all got some questions, just drop them in the chat. My guest will take care of that for you. Listen, I got this. I got this question here for you. I know that, and I agree with you that group therapy is really good and it's effective. But what happens when you know that group therapy would be really good for the growth and development of this person to get them past being stuck, but there is something about them, either their character structure, their person, their personality, whatever it might be, or their fear of confidentiality, and or their fear of I can't explain myself right. I know this is a multifaceted question. I know you can handle it. Try to tap into some of those things. So in other words, how do you get them to make that transition? They don't want to for a number of reasons, but they should.
So, a part of my job is to make you a little uncomfortable.
Oh,
As a therapist, my job is not to coddle you. It's not to make you say, the world is going to be all right, close your eyes, and it'll all go away. Because that's enabling. And I'm not going to enable you. And so, yes, I will tell you that it may be tough, but what you may need is something tough. You didn't get here overnight. And so you don't expect that you're going to solve it overnight. And there may be challenges. And so, what I would hope that by time I've encouraged my client to join a group, that we have worked through a lot of that fear that would keep them from taking this leap of faith towards the group setting. And
mm-hmm.
so them coming in day one, yeah, I might not offer group to them unless they were ready. But I would definitely hope that as a therapist, my job is to prepare them for this, let's say, aftercare, this continual care. Because even after they've gotten all the tools from me, you still need to stay sharp. And so what sharpens iron?
Iron.
Iron. Iron sharpens iron.
There
And
we
so
go.
so if you really want to stay, if we got you to a place where you are building your confidence and you're overcoming depression and you're overcoming anxiety and you are working with your spouse and you get to a place where you're sharp, eventually your knife will get dull.
Mm.
And so you need continual care. You need ways to keep yourself sharp so that you can keep functioning, because mental health is not a place that you arrive. It's a place you maintain. And people need to understand that. You're just not going to go one day to therapy, you learn a bunch of stuff, and then you're healed, and then everything goes away. Mental health is something that you must maintain. And so you want to continually search for ways to grow and to keep sharp. And one thing I've learned, even in the group setting, because so we need to talk a little bit about what group is,
All
because they
right, go
need to
right ahead.
understand the different
Right.
dynamics of group.
Yeah.
But one thing I've learned in the group setting is that it becomes a family. These people become a family, and they will encourage you and hold you accountable in ways that one person just can't do alone. And we call it the power of the group.
Okay. All right.
So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Uh, all right. Oh, I think a question is coming. Is screening necessary before assigning individual to a group?
Yes.
Hey, Chantel. Thank you. Great question.
Well, really great question. Um, so, uh, so two sides to this. First of all, if you're in therapy and your therapist is encouraging you to go to group, they should do their own kind of assessment to see if you're ready for it. But most professional groups. So there's different types of group. There are groups that are just kind of open groups,
Right.
where they allow anyone to come in, and then there are closed groups that are more particular about who comes in, and they usually stick together for a certain period of time. In those closed groups, yeah, they're going to do the screening process, and make sure you're appropriate for that group, right? Because and let's talk. We're going to use substance abuse arena for a minute. So
Okay.
let's say Alcoholic Anonymous versus Al-Anon. So Alcoholic Anonymous, you have to be an alcoholic to attend. And they're gonna screen that because non-alcoholics can't come to Alcoholic Anonymous. However, you can go to Al-Anon, but you can only go to Al-Anon if you've been affected by someone who is an alcoholic. So they do screenings to make sure you're appropriate for the group. And same thing for any other good group. There should be screening. One, if your therapist is offering it, they for some reason feel like you would benefit from it, and that's great. But if you're going into a group, you need to know what type of group you're going into. Is it an open group, one that anyone can come to, and that is general and non-specific? Yeah, those won't get screened. They'll just say, "Hey, you want to come," and you may have those. But if you're doing a closed group, a group where the group of people are kind of set at the beginning, and y'all are on a journey, a certain stages, and y'all are on this journey together, then that group is going to be closed until that group is finished. Those journeys are done. Now there is a mixture of the both. You may find, and what will happen is you may have a group that's you have to go through the steps that a closed group would go through. But if there is room, like let's say someone drops off and there's an open spot, they may fill it with someone else and say, "Hey, you can come on in," or we have room, you can come on in. But they're still going to get vetted, and they're still going to be held to a certain level of rules in that group.
Okay. Thanks for that, John. But I got a couple of questions. I'm trying to figure out which one I want to ask you first. But let me continue with this here. That with a closed group and somebody drops off for whatever reason, they drop out the group, or they leave the group, or they leave the town, or leave the city, which creates a vacancy there, right? Now, but you use the term family, but the longer that they've been together, they kind of a gel more biologically. Let me say, there's a great what we call biopsychosocial, spiritual kind of a framing and attachment that will go on. Okay, so when you bring somebody in that's new, okay, what happens then to the other group? Do do you need to ask permission to bring somebody in? And then what happens when you bring this new person in? And can they be marginalized? I mean, how do you prepare the group to accept somebody new to come in the group?
Oh man, that's a good question. So first of all, the facilitator is really key. That's why you have a facilitator
Okay.
in most groups. One of the biggest reasons to have a facilitator is because you want someone to be able to protect the group. And you know that they're going to be there despite who drops out and who
Right.
comes in. And so they're going to be the one that welcomes in new people. And they're going to judge whether this person is going to be appropriate for the group. They also have the power to remove people from the group, right? And so you want to make sure you have a good facilitator. And there's many different ways people approach this. But I'll be honest with you, the best thing that I can say is having a good facilitator is really key to the group. There's no guarantees because you're dealing with people. And people can do anything. There, yes, we hold them to confidentiality. We go through all the protocols. We will limit those that aren't appropriate, that are damaging the group. We will remove them. But like in any family, you're going to have members of that family that may not necessarily it's good for the environment. But a good facilitator will know how to manage the group so that it remains healthy. And I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges of why group therapy doesn't have the traction that it normally should have.
Mm.
Me personally, I'm entering into this world of group therapy. And what I plan to do is keep my groups closed and connected. So I'm going to have 10-week groups that are going to be 10 weeks long, and those who start are going to be those who finish. So if you drop out, you just drop out. But
Mm.
wherever we end, that where we started, those people are going to be in the group. And
Okay.
and so that to me is probably the purest way to keep the group dynamics um, cohesive
Right.
and not have that problem of trying to acclimate new people into the group. But with that said, don't let that deter you, because group itself is powerful no matter how it's presented. Group itself is powerful. It's like taking a jet plane to your destination, because it will allow you room to it will let you kind of be comfortable at your own pace. You can observe. You have different types of people in group: those who like to observe, those who like to talk, those who like to kind of be in the middle. And if you have a great facilitator, you'll be able to merge all of those personalities in an environment where real growth can happen.
All right. Okay. All right. Great question. Yolanda, what is the youngest age to seek group therapy? Thank you for that question, Yolanda. I'm gonna let my man handle that.
Oh man. Whew. So okay, so this is a good question
They're testing
because
you tonight, John.
no, yeah, well, it's good. I mean, so this is multifaceted. So if we're just talking about group therapy and age, think about play therapy. One of the best ways to observe behavior amongst children, young children, is not talking to them. It's putting them in a group full of, maybe a group of kids and watching and observing their behavior. You don't even have to say much to them other than just like set the parameters and see how they operate. And then once they're done, kind of come back and do little corrective movements to help them improve on their behavior.
Mm.
So I mean, group honestly could be as young. It's not utilized as well as it should be, but it's so powerful. I mean, if you think about play therapy, that could be very good. And then you have here's the best thing about groups. If anyone's ever done individual therapy, it's usually talk therapy, right? You're sitting on a couch, you're telling your therapist what's going on, and your therapist may use certain techniques like open chair, or they may use role reversal or role play or some things like that. But it's going to be pretty, let's communicate, talk therapy. But in group, you can most groups or some groups, at least the groups I like working with, introduce activities that can also hone in on the lesson and make the lesson more meaningful. So you have things like music therapy that is done in a group setting. You may have play therapy, animal therapy. You may have, and when you're in a group setting, it allows this to take place at a better rate, or in a situation that is more conducive, because you have the group giving support and encouragement and there to make sure that that it helps with the nerves and the nervousness and all that good stuff. So once again, I don't think group has been utilized as powerful as it can be, but these lessons can be powerful. I'll give you a quick example,
Yeah.
Dr. Kidd, show you. So I do group therapy with some young adults that are having trouble getting into the workforce, right? And so one activity I do with them is called following instructions. And so I will get two those put together stools or nightstands that you could buy like at Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get two of those, and one I will pull all the packaging off, all the identifying packaging off of it. I will open the box and take the instructions out. The only thing I'm going to leave is just the materials and screws and tools. And I'll take a group and I'll say, okay, take this box and put it together. I'm not going to tell you what it is or whatever. And then I'll take a second group and I'll give them the box the way it comes with the instructions in it, with the pictures, everything that they need to be able to put those tools together. I mean, put that item together. And then I'll allow them to operate however they do with the struggles, challenges, whatever. Let them operate. And then at the end, bring them back together and say, okay, what was some of your experiences? And you'll be amazed at, in something so small but fun, how many life lessons can come out of it. I do another exercise where it's called good voice, bad voice. And I'll blindfold a person. And on one side of them, I'll put a person and I'll put a lot of stuff in front of them that they got to navigate through. And on one side, I'll put a person who is telling them the wrong things to do to step on one of those items. And on the other side, I put a person who's trying to help them navigate around it without getting it. And their goal is to tune out the bad voice while listening to the good voice. And then every time after those lessons, the life lessons that come out of it, really a lot of times the facilitator doesn't have to do a lot of talking. Really, the group starts to open up and identify lessons that they're learning, and that creative thought process really flows. So yeah, the power of group is just amazing, and we need to utilize it more.
Yeah, listen, John, man, you're saying a whole lot of. Listen, for those who are just tuning in, I got this is a longtime friend of mine, very very professional man right here in Huntsville. We'll put his information up in a little bit later on. Again, but this is a man. If you're looking for a touch of peace, this is his company, the LPC, right in Huntsville. And if you're looking for a good man that is eclectic and has a lot of different approaches to dealing with similarities and issues, this is the man to go to. But John, let me say, but this whole thing about group therapy, it's been around since I don't know how long, man, like thousands of years, right? I'm going to give you a couple of examples while I'm saying this. The classroom.
Exactly.
You got a group.
Exactly.
It's not necessarily therapeutic, but the goal here is to learn something, right? So that in itself then can see how this goes. And I remember watching with Sister Act, I think maybe Sister Act 2 or 3, where they brought all these kids in off the street or where they came from, they were supposed, and they were hard-nosed kids, man, and they were supposed to do this, kind of settle them down. And after a while, one of the things about group leadership will emerge. A leader, a natural leader will emerge. A placater will emerge. The caretaker will emerge. The director will emerge. You have all of these potential, well, not no potential anymore, but all of these characteristics will begin to emerge, because people will begin to say, well, you don't do it like this. Well, don't tell them what to do. However they do this. And so you're really building this person's internal strength in groups. So we have that one piece of that, and it will come out. And so in this movie, I think it was with Whoopi Goldberg, and one of the kids in there was really, really bad, man. And that group kind of just took him to task, or her to task. Can't remember this. It's been a long time since this thing. But I was just thinking about the power of the group therapy. But John, I want to ask you this question, man. Is it possible that for some people the group may be a platform to complain? It might be that place where they complain about everything else. You know what? They got nothing else to bring to the group but to complain. And so what
Right.
happens is they might come in and just complain.
Right.
What you gonna say about that, John?
Well, first off, a lot of people will come to a group and resonate with it because they want a platform to complain. I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
that
Yeah,
should be
yeah,
expected. That comes along with the territory.
yeah.
However, what makes group powerful is the same people they're complaining to has gone through what they have gone through or is going through what they're going through. And a lot of
Right.
times they can call them out on the carpet and say, no, stop blaming everybody. We know what you're going through. We know you put yourself in this position. You need to stop blaming them and take some responsibility. And they can say it in a way that no one else can say it because they've been through what that person been through and they know what they're going through and they can't lie to them. They can't manipulate them like they may manipulate their family members. So, if you have someone who's depressed and they're like, nobody understands, nobody wants me, nobody cares about me, and someone who's going through that same depression might say to them, stop that. Because how many times have your people come and checked up on you? How many times have they asked you to come with them? How many times have they done this? How many times have they done that? Say, maybe you just like being depressed. Maybe you like the pity. And you couldn't say that. A family member couldn't say that. But someone who's going through some depression can say that. They can be like, you like the pity. You want someone to pity you. You rather be pitied than put some work to accomplishing something. You know what I mean? And so you can have those tough conversations. So yeah, it may be an area to complain, but it's also an area to see reality. It's an area to really address those complaints in a way that will help them get beyond their defense mechanisms.
Right, right.
Because we put our defenses up to protect ourselves, but it's hard to protect yourself from someone who's in the muck with you.
Right. All right. And so here we go. Is Ellen G. Thanks, Ellen. How do we go about choosing a therapist? Hey,
The same way you go about choosing a spouse.
oh, you said that. You just said that.
Same way.
Ah,
You want someone who, first of all, can demonstrate that they can understand where you're coming from. You want someone who um, is capable or able to see your goals and your visions for yourself, and someone that can be patient enough to work through your difficulties and invested enough to see your success. And that may not always look like someone that may look like you, but you want to make sure that that person is capable of really being able to empathize and connect, but also hold you accountable. And so sometimes it may take time. Sometimes you have to vet your therapist. There's a lot of different ways to go through that process. You can look at things like Psychology Today, read their profile, maybe talk to your friends or people who may have some insight into the field, might know that therapist. Our community isn't that big. It can be a little bit at times, but there's always someone who knows someone that knows that person. And so kind of get a feel, but the best way is to kind of sit down with them and try to see if there's a good fit, a good connection that you can have with them. And then once you build that, you hold on to it, you commit to it, you work together with them as you learn your aspects of growth in life.
okay. Let's. Good. Thank you, Ellen G. Great question. Listen, John. What happens a when you, the therapist, knows that the client has gotten everything they can out of a particular group, but they're just there because it's fun, it's a place to hang out. But therapeutically, they're not growing anymore. How do you challenge this person to say, hey, listen, I see your game. Your game is not to be here to grow anymore. Your game is to be here just to hang out. Like you're trying to make the group a corner. Like, everybody got a corner. I go down my corner, my boys. You understand what I'm saying here? So you want to make the group your corner where you come and you hang out. And then can you show them where they have stopped growing? And so now it's and is it possible the fact that they have stopped growing, they might negatively impact the group's growth?
So I want to answer that a couple of ways.
All right.
Number one, if you have a healthy individual who has really benefited from group,
Right.
but enjoys the process of it, I would encourage them to become a facilitator
Okay.
in their own right. Like develop what skills they need to develop. It might be something that they're good at, and they should become a facilitator. Some of the best, especially when we talk about like Alcohol Anonymous and so forth, some of the best facilitators are ex-alcoholics because they've been through the process, they understand it, and they're able to really call the people out through their own experience. Now, if someone is using the group as a codependent, dysfunctional process that is keeping them as a defense mechanism, keeping them from growing, as a facilitator, I have to challenge them. I may have to do something really hard, like tell them they have to go a few weeks without coming to group, and then we evaluate their purpose in the group, and then decide if this group is still appropriate for them, or maybe give them other challenges. A good facilitator would know how to manage that and hopefully get them in the right place. But yeah, it really just depends on that person's motive. Why are they still attending the group? Some may just still need a little more help, like they are still in need of information and guidance, and maybe going through some of the similar modalities over again may help facilitate an even deeper understanding. So that's where assessing the group member is important.
Okay. Very detailed and informative. Yolanda, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for being so insightful in your response. It helps. Okay. So I'm going back to this person who's in the group. Thank you, Ellen G. I'm coming back to this person who's in the group. Now, it looks like they want to just come to hang out, but I think there is an energy. Is there an energy in groups that the therapists and facilitators have to be careful of, because everybody's got this role in the group? So, is it possible that if we ask that person to leave, it can destabilize the group because according to the roles in the group, he may not have to come or she may not have to come to say anything, but there's a stability factor that's going on. I mean, would you discuss this with the group before you ask them not to come back and see what kind of insight or input they have on that? Or would the facilitator like yourself make that decision for the group? Because if you allow the group to do it, then the group gets what they want. They may stop growing, and what are your
My personal opinion is I kind of, if as a facilitator, I failed the group if I allowed one person and I didn't foresee that person's role becoming counterproductive. So a good example is like you'll have talkers who will talk because the environment is quiet and won't give the quieter people an opportunity to really speak because they're uncomfortable. And so as a facilitator, I have to manage that. I say, we have things like, two responses, then you can talk, or something like that. So we may say, hey, let two other people respond before you talk again, because we want to encourage everyone to have an opinion and comment in this particular scenario. So I have to, once again, manage those people. And if I manage right, I'll know someone who has bad intentions. Now, every once in a while, you may have someone who has bad intentions. And so with them, you give them warnings, you let them know that they're being disruptive, and eventually dismiss them from the group. But that's something as a facilitator I have to be aware of. But if it's just group dynamics, managing the group, I should be seeing this as it comes along. If someone's hogging all the attention, or someone's always the one that wants to come up with the answers and so forth, I have to manage that. Just like I have to manage someone who doesn't want, they all they want to do is just sit there and listen. I have to
Okay.
challenge them too to speak up and to engage.
All
So
right.
a lot of that falls on the facilitator.
Okay. So, John, man, man, you're good, man. You're batting 1,000 and more right now.
I don't know.
But
Are you still with me?
nah, like, you're good, man. You're good, man. You okay? You good? You still with me? Look like I'm hoping. I really want John to. Okay. Um, Listen, while John is out getting himself situated, technology is not 100%. Listen, thank you so much for the questions that you're putting in the chat. They are challenging and they are eye opening, and so continue to drop those in, because if we don't answer all of these tonight, I will have a time when I will just go back and answer some questions. So drop the chat and drop your question in in the chat below. So, John, I got a question for you. Ready for a question, man?
Yeah, I'm ready for a question.
So 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 this group is very cohesive, and they've developed a lot of you know friendship, and they see other people, or they see themselves in other people, and other people are acting out the role that they can't act out. Okay. So what happens when somebody graduates the group? Okay. When just graduate, however, terminated, whatever, just graduate the group. Okay. But they've been in this group now for, 12, 10, 15 weeks or whatever this group is. Some groups are very long. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but they've developed this attachment. Is there room for thinking about loss and consequently grief when those persons are no longer available to the group? Their function is necessary, but they're no longer there.
So great question. Most groups that kind of have those dynamics
Uh-huh.
where there may be one person leaving while others are still staying because there's this continual growth. And let's say that happens, they usually have some form of celebration
Okay.
that happens near the process of ending. So there's a program called MRT, and MRT, what is moral recognition training. And what they'll do is they have these steps, kind of like AA. You got 12 steps. They have these steps. And as you get to the last step, it's all designed that by the time you get to the last step, you're really kind of going through a graduation of some sort. And there's a celebration at the end of that for that person to basically say, hey, you're okay. Life is going to be good. You have the tools, you can move forward. It may be scary. We're always here for you, but we want you now to go out and put to play what you've learned. And the group supports that. The group supports them going out now and accomplishing or showing what they've accomplished in the group. Once again, those are all different dynamics. You have some groups where everybody is going to start and end together, so that may not necessarily be the case.
Right.
And there's ups and downs. There's nothing perfect. I can't tell you that life is going to, group life is going to always be sugar cane and roses. But I can tell you that it is, once again, a powerful tool to help bring some of those lessons to life that people need.
Listen, John, man, it's been an amazing session. See, okay, so and what if the group member have several different issues that they are working on? Wouldn't group therapy slow down the process of therapy for each individual?
So group, and this is another thing I like about groups. Groups have a tendency to be specific. So even though you may have several different um, issues going on, you know, the group is going to focus on one particular issue. And that's why having a therapist, even though you're going to group, is great because all of those other, there's a name they call it, I can't think of right now, but but you're still able to work on all of the other issues that you have, but the group is going to be specific towards one modality. So right now I'm developing groups. I have a fall lineup, and in my fall lineup, even though you may have certain issues, my lineup is going to be focused on those particular issues. Now, yes, you may get something out of those groups that might help you with another issue that you may be having, but its main focus is going to be what the group is about. And so it's important to understand that the group is not a cure all for everything because you're in the group. It's going to be specific, 9 times out of 10, specific for what the group was created for.
Okay, listen, John. Let me ask this question, man. What if I come to a group, to one of your groups, okay, and I continue to reference a particular issue that I'm dealing with, okay, and somebody in the group begin to become aggressive towards me because I'm continuing to bring up this issue. What do you do with that? It's that one specific issue that I'm bringing up that this one specific person just keeps gnawing at me, man. What do you do? How are you going to handle that, John?
I'm going to confront it. Matter of fact, I'm going to find that person that is bothering, and a lot of times it might be something that hits close to home, and we're going to bring it
Hey,
out. I mean, once again, that's the power of the group. You make people you make people bring out their defenses, and they show you, and when they do, we put them in the hot seat, and we let them get it. It's a safe space because we're going to be encouraging, but we're also going to be authentic. We're not going to let them put on that mask. They're going to take that mask off, and we're going to call them out on it and say, "Hey, why is this bothering you so much?" And we're going to dig, and we're going to find out if it's bothering them because maybe they relate to it or somehow it's connected to it. And so we'll bring that out, and then we're going to talk about how to heal from that. And sometimes them receiving that is healing in and of itself. So and there's many different ways that can play out, but those are good things in group. Those challenges, like group is messy. Group is not clean. It's not clean cut. It's not sitting on the couch with your legs up, looking at the ceiling, talking about your life, and it's just a clean, smooth story. It's rough. It's messy. Is not somewhere where you can't be. You can be fake. You got to be authentic because that gets called out. We want you to be authentic. So once again, that goes into the power of the group.
yeah, so I come to the group, see, and I just don't like that person over there. And I start talking about this, or I start plotting against that person over there, and I try to get the group to swing over onto my side. Oh, now we have confusion in the group, or possible confusion in the group.
Right.
What's your role in that, John? And we're going to wrap it up here pretty soon, man, because I think
No,
I
no
think it's
problem,
kind of
man. But it's the alpha mentality. You always got
that is
someone who wants to lead, but a good facilitator knows how to put that in check.
okay.
And that's what you need. You need a good all these dynamics are good and important to the group dynamic. It helps force the growth. It's uncomfortable, but it's also an environment, if done well, that will get you, like I said, like a jet plane, get you to that destination really quick. Good facilitators is what matters most in a group. But once again, group isn't utilized, in my opinion, group is not utilized as much as it should be in other facets of life, like depression, um, development, family, stuff like that.
Okay, John, one last question here, man. Do you advocate, and if so, why? If so, why not? Do you advocate gender groups? Like you have groups for males and you have groups, or do you, and you know, is there a utility? Is there a place for mixed groups? So, what would you say about that, Big John?
So yes, I advocate for male, not male, but gender specific groups
Right.
because of just the camaraderie and the understanding of the situation that they may be going to through, and maybe it wouldn't be appropriate to have a mixed party. But I also advocate for mixed gender groups, like depending on what the situation is. So to say to even formulate that conversation is almost missing the point because group is designed to be tailored for a particular issue, and it's tailored for those who are going through that issue. So there may be times where it's going to be, in its nature, is segregative. Like I said, if I'm in Alcoholic Anonymous, a non-alcoholic can't come in because it's not appropriate for them. Or if I'm depressed, I don't want a happy person at a depressed group. Or someone who never dealt with depression. I want happy people, but I don't want someone who's never been depressed at a depressed group or anxiety group, because it's like having a group for fat people when you got that one skinny person talking about why they feel so fat because they ate a bologna sandwich, and you got these people who are really fat, you know what I mean, who are really struggling. They look at that person almost like, ooh, like, it could be counterproductive. Not that was a joke, because there are some people who struggle with their weight
Right.
that aren't big. But I'm just trying to make my point that there in its nature, group is segregatory because it has to be, because you're trying to deal with a particular issue that those people are suffering.
All right. But is it important to make a distinction between segregating the people as opposed to being focused and segregating the issue? So we don't think that, you know.
I'm trying to think about your question, and I'll say it like this: the issue is the most important thing.
Okay, gotcha.
The issue is the most important thing in the group. What we're trying to resolve is the most important thing of the group, and then the dynamics flow around it. So if I was developing a group, I'm going to figure out what the issue is first, and then flow everything around that issue so that we'll have the best environment to resolve that issue.
All right. Ooh, John, man, you threw down again on us, man. No wonder I like having you on, man. Listen, man. Listen, if I need to do a course in anything, I just get you on the program, man.
Do it.
And
Let's do it.
I get all the info I need, you know.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Oh man. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, now I'm gonna call it a day now. This is my friend and colleague, John Ruffin, man. Listen, this man is, if you've been online with us, he's a wealth of knowledge and skill. Not only does he know the info, but he knows how to utilize the information to help people to grow into the kind of people that they want, that is necessary. And sometimes we don't know as clients. Sometimes clients don't. They know they need a change, but there's a challenge as to where do I go. You know why? Because you see this sign behind me here. It says the fear of failure is the enemy of success. Sometimes some people have a fear of failure, and so they don't try. But if you don't try, you don't succeed. So the fear of failure must be the enemy of success. And so we try to get them past that. And this is where my guest tonight, took us through that and gave us a lot of really good information about different types of groups. He used the word dynamics a lot inside there, which I've come to understand that, it's how it works. Talks about the function of the different types of groups and the different types of groups that there are out there, and the focus and the goals for for these groups. And in order for him to talk like that, you must know without a doubt that this man is not a fake. He knows what he's talking about. So please, please, please listen. We're gonna put his and then I'm going to get him to talk about just a little bit about how you can reach him, because I want you to reach this man. This man is a good, not just a resource, he's a good practitioner. He really is a good practitioner, and he will help you to help yourself without carrying you across the finish line. You will walk across the finish line, and you'll thank him for that. Go ahead, Big John, as we close it out, man. Just tell us anything else you want us to know about you, man. How to reach you, and just whatever else you're doing. Okay.
Right. So if you go to my website, you can see a lot about me and my team. I don't do this by myself. I have a lot of people on my team that works and do this. But one thing I do want to encourage you, especially if you're in the Huntsville area, we do have our fall lineup of groups. And so we have 5 groups this fall that we're doing. The first one is called Our Family. Our Family is a group focused on blended families. What we're seeing now is a lot of people dealing with, having kids and then getting remarried with someone that has kids, and then the dynamics of dealing with that, and the blended familyness, the different types of families that are now out there. You think of shows like The Modern Family and so forth. There's a lot of issues that come with the non-traditional family. And so we're developing a group, and all of my groups are closed groups that are designed to start and finish with the group that they started with. So they're all 10 weeks long, and they all start together. So they're closed groups. The second group that we're doing is going to be called Excel. And so this group is going to be focused on college age students who want an advantage in the college arena. And so what we're focusing on here is the skill sets that sometimes students come in missing. A lot of times students will graduate high school, but still don't have the skill set to really function in that arena. And so we have some really cool topics in this group that we're going to deal with, from learning strategies to how to look at the learning process, to how to maximize your time, being organized, all those things. It's going to be really, really nice. Another group, we have 2 adolescent groups. There's going to be one for adolescent women, are young ladies, that are going to be called Sugar and Spice. This is for young ladies between the ages of 13 and 16. That's going to focus on what it really means to be a young woman in these days and time. There's a lot of information that is being bombarded with our young people, and they don't know how to decipher that information. They don't even know how to communicate that information to their parents and to those that can give them guidance. And they're just being influenced. And so this is going to be a platform to really engage them into that process of what it means to be a young lady and how to carry yourself in power, not just how the world may see you, because the world will say, hey, your wealth, your value is in your looks. And so you have things like body dysmorphia, where they may be considering how they look all the time, and so forth, and their health and their depression and their love of themselves all depends on how other people accept them. And we want to show them that their power comes from more than just that place. Another one is going to be adolescent males, and this group is called MIT, which stands for Men in Training. And we're going to focus on understanding the role of a man in the community and in society, and what value that they bring and what they were designed to do. We're going to talk about, courage and what is true strength, what is things like valor and being able to stand up and be an influence amongst their peers. And we're going to talk a lot about things that they may experience as young men. And then last but not least of our fall lineup is a program for depression and anxiety called The Bridge. And the process of this group is designed to help people bridge the gap between their goals and where they stand. A lot of times we get to the precipice of life and we want to meet our challenges, but the gap between our goals and where we are seems unsurmountable. And so we become depressed and anxious about like we can't reach them. And so what we're going to do is develop a group that will show you how to bridge that gap over that empty space that makes you feel like you're not going to make it to where you want to be in life. And that group is going to be focused on helping you overcome in that area. So we got a really good fall lineup. You can go to my website, atouchofpeace.org, to learn more about those groups and what we're doing and when we're planning to start. First groups are going to be starting in October, and we're going to be very limited on space. I'm thinking about capping it around 10 to 13 people or couples, just depending on what the group is. So you might want to get in or you'll be on my waiting list. But yeah, I'm excited about what we're doing. I have a good team that are going to be working on in each of these groups that have specialization and experience dealing with it. Like the blended family, the therapist that's going to be running that actually just got married, been in a blended family for a relationship for a while, and brings a wealth of knowledge to someone who suffers with depression and anxiety. So it is going to be really, really powerful, really, really great. And I hope to see you guys there.
Okay, thank you. Oh man, and listen, all the accolades coming in at you there, man. Ah man, look at you, Big John, man. Man, listen, when I do this stuff, I don't get none of that stuff, man. They don't, man.
We in it together, man.
Yeah, I know, man. But listen, man, I thank you so much, man. I keep telling you, I gotta have you back because you know too much, to not let the community, know, I'm not giving opportunity to share this so they can learn from you, man. It's been my pleasure again, and you know, if you don't call me, I'll call you. you
Let's
you know,
do it.
that's how we go. Because all you got to say is, "Listen, I got this new thing. I want to drop on the public." I said, "Well, just name your date, and just name your date, and we'll get you in there so that you can do this." So, thanks a whole lot, my friend, man.
Okay.
I really do
Thanks for
thank
having me.
you. All right, now thank you. Those of you who stuck by us and just walk with us through this evening. I can see by the comments on that we saw that those who wrote comments, they really enjoyed this, and I'm so glad to know. This is why I keep saying, you got to like, share, subscribe. You got to do this because this is the kind of stuff that people need. People pay a whole lot of money to get this kind of information, but we got this man here who is willing, hot, and ready to just drop it in your lap to the point where you can't contain it. So you have to start sharing it. Let's throw it around, for other people to get a little piece of. This was my professional man, John Ruffin, LPC, a touch of peace, right here in Huntsville. Now, listen, if if you'd like to be a part of this program, if you'd like to be considered to be a part of this program here, just get in touch with my team at my email them at drkidspeaks@gmail.com. And like I said, with whatever it is you want to talk about, it is you are the expert. So so you're gonna tell us what you know, and we're gonna soak this stuff up. And especially when it's about when it relates to relationships, we love that because everything relates. Will take us down that road because we live in a way and place and time, even in the families we grew up in, where the quality of the relationship is very, very important. So we want to see you on this. Okay, go to drkitspeaks.com. And so we have this rest stop that's coming up. Rest stop that's coming up uh, September 24th. Now, it's not large, it's going to be small and intimate because we don't want it to be like an arena where you just get information. It is going to be so intimate that we'll be able to walk through and talk through and act out a lot of the stuff that we are going through. So you take away some of the practicalities of life as opposed to giving you something that looks like we're just reading it out of a book. No, you are going to be the major players in this. Now that I said that, please don't say, well, I don't want to come and do that. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You can just come and just be a part of it. But if you're going to get the best part of this, just come prepared to just participate where you can learn from yourself. You didn't think you could learn from yourself. You can learn from yourself. You don't just learn from other people. You learn from yourself when you do things that you were not normally where you don't normally do, and then you learn that, wow, I can do this. That is learning from the self. And so you come to this rest stop, refueling your relationship, September 24th. It's going to be a day long. It won't be a large group there. So we're keeping it small so that you know that you'll get the best out of it. That just because it's going to be small, don't say, well, it's going to be small, don't come. No, you need to, to sign up because you don't want to say, well, it's small, so I'm not going. And therefore, then you don't get in and then you get closed out. We want you to be there, but we want to let you know that it will be small and intimate. So come on out, come one, come all. And when we close it down, we'll just have to do it again at another time, at another place. Okay, so thank you all so much. Thank you. Okay, Chantal, my husband and I will see y'all in Oh, Chantal, okay. See that now? That's what I'm talking about. Somebody who's definitely well prepared to say, listen, I need to go and do a little bit of a shake-up in Atlanta. I need to do a little bit of a reframing in Atlanta. I need to do a little bit, understand what the blending process is like in Atlanta. I need to go and find out what else is going on in Atlanta. So listen, Chantal, tell some of your friends that it's limited, but we want them to come anyhow. All right. Thank you so much. All right. See you again next week. Shake up, Dr. Kid. Monday, 6 Central Time, we'll have another Power Pack podcast for you to participate in. Okay. So thanks much. Like, share, subscribe, and do all of that. Appreciate you. Be good. Bye-bye.